Hello, hello. Grace Spees, Executive Director of the Farmers Branch Chamber of Commerce. On today's Chamber Chat, we are hosting a community nonprofit organization called Baskets for Good. Welcome to the show, Jesse and Ricardo. How are you guys?
Hi.
Hi, Grace.
We're
Hello,
good.
hello. Well,
We
this
are
must
great.
feel weird, kind of. You're usually the host of these kinds of things. Now you're in the
Yeah.
passenger seat.
I don't know what to do because I'm on the right side of the screen, but that sounds good. We're excited to be here.
Absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I just want to give you guys a couple minutes. Why don't you go ahead and share with the viewers what Baskets for Good is, when it was started, and what the goals are?
Okay. So we first started in 2015. We became a 501c3 nonprofit in 2017. And we started just feeding families for Thanksgiving, a Thanksgiving meal. And it's a basket, literally just a laundry basket filled with all the Thanksgiving goodies. And we were delivering this to the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Dallas at the, um, I forgot the
Cedar Springs.
Cedar Springs, thank you, office. And it kind of developed into more because the VP Ronaldo had told us about a family that ate their food that Friday and when or that Saturday when we were delivering, and obviously that is not our goal for them to eat the food. Um, the day of, we wanted to go all the way to Thanksgiving Day. And so we were like, okay, what can we do to expand this to make it bigger? And so we started, thank you, Sophia, sorry about that. We started to just expand that into feeding families for a week, the ones that needed it, and then a month for the few. We had a handful of families that did need a month's worth. So that's kind of what we've transitioned to now. And especially in the COVID world, obviously there's tons of families that are in need. And so our goal this year specifically is 200 families, feeding them for a week's worth of groceries and, of course, the Thanksgiving meal.
Anything to add to that, Ricardo?
She summed it up. She's the boss.
Awesome. Yeah, that pretty well covers it. And for those who don't know out there, yes, I might be the leader of the chamber, but these have been friends of mine for several years. And we've worked in partnership with them, and volunteering and serving and handing it out. So it's an amazing organization. So what do you feel like was the thing that prompted you guys to make this your nonprofit? How did it become your heart?
I don't know. I mean, I think we felt blessed. We both came from a background of, families that didn't have abundance. And now I feel that we live in abundance and we just wanted to share that. We wanted to make sure that our kid, understands how others live and that he does not live this. And doing this, he sees it firsthand. And, he's been doing this since he was one. So he knows now it's basket season, and he will start pulling out toys that he wants to put in the baskets for other kids.
Aw.
And I love the fact that he enjoys that. Like, that's something that he looks forward to. We've never asked him to do this. This is something that he's done on his own. Sometimes when he's looking at things, he'll be like, okay, well, can I have two of these, one for me and one so that I can keep for baskets? Which I love. I love the fact that he's already thinking like that of giving back. So that's what it just I at first I feel like we kind of just stumbled upon it, but now it's something that it's our family. It's just what we do. It's us.
And it's the right thing to do. You can't really go wrong by doing the right thing. It's the right thing to do. And as you know, Grace, we're about growth. We're about self development. We're about growth and bettering ourselves. And what better way to better ourselves than help somebody else?
That's awesome. So, what are some of the best stories you've heard or experienced yourself while delivering baskets to families?
Well, there's a lot of things. Like typically when we go, depending on the family, of course, we have experiences where the kids are excited to see macaroni and cheese. I mean, when's the last time you saw a kid excited for a box of macaroni and cheese? And those are the moments when you realize that, wow, this is important. This means a lot. This means a lot to the families. This means even more to the kids because they're excited. They're like, can we cook the macaroni and cheese tonight? Can we cook the macaroni and cheese tonight? And mom's usually like, sure, we can cook one box. And the fact that they're so appreciative and excited over a 30-cent box of macaroni and cheese, it's overwhelming when you're the one delivering. And at the end of the day, one of the reasons that we do this is not just to feed a family for a day or for a week like we're doing this year. It's because we don't know where these kids are going to be in 20, 30 years. These are future CEOs. These are future businessmen. These are the future Bill Gates and Mark Cubans of the world. And they're going to remember this. They're going to remember that time that some dude and some lady went and dropped off a box of food because mom didn't have enough money for food that week. They're going to remember that lady who came and dropped off a box of food for Thanksgiving when they didn't have any money. And when they're sitting on top of the world, millionaires, what are they going to do? What change are they going to make? These are the leaders of tomorrow, and we're giving them something to think about when they grow up. They're going to realize what happened, they're going to understand what it means, and they're going to be able to continue this for generations to come.
That's awesome. If I may share just my personal story, I remember one of my first deliveries when we arrived. One of the kids was like, well, actually, not just one, I think three of the kids were sitting at the kitchen table, literally eating packets of ketchup. That was their breakfast. And so it was one of the mega baskets, the ones I think that was food for a week, that we had dropped off, and the kids just all dive bombed into the box. And I mean, it was like Christmas Day just to have food. And I'm a sensitive soul, and so it almost makes me cry just to remember that moment that, we get to taking so much for granted. And it's a very humbling experience when you see people who appreciate food like that. And for you, that's just a Saturday of volunteering. But for them, it it's so much more than just food in their stomach.
It means a
So,
lot. And it's
and
also a lot of, hey, we see you. We
Mhm.
understand that you're going through something. We understand that you're struggling through something, especially now, especially here in COVID world 2020. And just for someone to know that someone thought about them enough to bring them a box of food is phenomenal. And that's something, sometimes that's all that people need. Like, hey, they thought enough about me. Someone out there knows that I need this, and they thought enough about me and put enough effort to bring this to my house. It's hope. We're delivering hope. We're delivering hope and love.
yeah, that's beautiful. I feel like I'm almost just speechless, right? Because it's so much more, right? I think people do think of, oh, it's food, but no, yeah, it is hope and love in a box.
It is.
It's a relatively small thing for a lot of us to do, to donate or to volunteer for that, but for somebody else, we forget that on the receiving end, that it can be transformative at a mind, body, soul, spirit level. So
It is. Because we don't know what people are going through. I expect that this year we're going to be delivering to some probably pretty nice houses in addition to the regular houses that we delivered to. And the people who are going through something, they might be 6 months behind on their mortgage. They might have just lost their job. They might be living paycheck to paycheck. Is their house probably bigger than mine? Maybe. But that doesn't mean anything right now in this moment where we are right now. They don't have food. They're on our list for a reason. And just again, the fact that someone knows enough that they need this kind of help, that they need just a visitor, a warm soul, if you will, to say, hey, I see you. We're thinking about you, and we're just showing you a little bit of love. It doesn't matter where they were a year ago. 1 year ago, they might have been the anonymous donor that donated $2,000 to this program, and now they're receiving a box because times have changed in the last 365 days. And it's going to mean the world to them because they understand that it's just a season. It's just a downtime right now. And it's going to get better, and they're going to be able to reciprocate this act of kindness in the future. But just the fact that people know that they're being recognized, that they're being seen, that they're being acknowledged for going through something that may or may not be their fault is the world.
Yeah. And I think that's powerful. Anybody who's ever, been in a dark place, I think that is kind of the nature of dark places. Is it's like, does anybody see me? Does anybody care? And like you said, they could live in a nice house and it could look quote unquote bad, or, be questionable whether they deserve food. And who are we to, determine or judge, somebody's situation? It could have been COVID, or we could be delivering to a nice house 5 years from now. And it could be that they got laid off and their spouse got cancer in the same year. And yeah, the roof over their head may be the only thing that they have to their name. And so it really is, I think important that we be careful how we position our hearts and our thoughts on any given situation. A need is a need. You can choose to meet it or not meet it. And like you, the proverbial you of anybody. But it's not a place to judge. So, and like Livy just commented, poverty has no face.
Looking at your American flag, it's also important to mention that we deliver to veterans. We've delivered to several veterans. We've heard stories about our delivery volunteers delivering to a veteran in a wheelchair without any legs. And that he was still proud enough and had enough pride to still try to pick up the box on his own. And did his best to pick up the box on his own. And it's a great story. It's a great story. There was a little bit more to it than that, but we deliver to veterans. We deliver to anyone and everyone who shows up on our list. We don't know who's on the other side of that door.
Jesse, you look like you're in the fields right now. But I think it's so beautiful, right? It's safe to be vulnerable because, this is a hard conversation. That share with us what's going on for you. You can't hide behind him. I won't let you.
I can't even talk. I can't even talk. It's just, it makes me happy. It makes me proud to be part of this. I love the fact that our 7-year-old gets to see, what we do. And I love that we're impacting people that need it. And I've been there. I've been in that situation. Growing up with a big family, not having, enough all the time. And it sucks. It's crappy. And the fact that we get to do this now, I don't know, it really makes me happy. Like I love doing this. It's stressful at times, but it's so worth it. It's a lot of work at times, but it's worth it. Like it just makes me happy. And not a lot of things make me happy.
Happy to tears, happy.
Yes, good happy tears.
So here's the other thing that it's worth mentioning is we think as being the organizers and volunteers and the people who are out there doing the work that we're serving, that it's about the person that's getting the box of food. And I'll be the first one to tell you that's about 40% right. The bigger gift comes to the person delivering the box of food than the person receiving the box of food.
Absolutely.
And the stories and text messages and emails that we get the week following the delivery is, quote, and I kid you not, this was life-changing. This was one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had in my life. And they go on to tell the story and what it means to them. We had a story where, okay, so I'm not gonna cry on this one. I've been crying the last couple of times I've told this one, but I'm not gonna do it today. You're not gonna get me, Chamber Chat. You're not going to get me. Um, we had a story of a very successful entrepreneur, one of our friends, and we're not going to mention names. And they grew up when they were starting their business. They had just had their baby. They didn't have baby formula. They were in one little apartment, and they were struggling. Fast forward to 2018. This was in 2018, and successful business, very successful business, very successful family, two, three kids now, successful couple, successful power couple, if you will. They delivered to the same apartment, the apartment where they were working to start their business. They delivered to the same apartment.
Wow.
And the email was, the story and the email was rather lengthy, but you can imagine the emotions that went through because she was with her kids. She was with her kids, going back to the apartment where the oldest one they were struggling to have enough formula to feed the oldest kid that they were with delivering. And now they were back on the other side of the door, delivering to the same apartment. You can't you can't measure that. You can't There's no words really to describe that. You can only imagine the feeling. And when I was hearing the story and she was telling me, we were driving down the street and I started to realize this street looks familiar. We took a left turn and then the thought started coming in. Are we going to the same complex? Yes. Wow, we're really close to the apartment we used to live in. And then when they saw the number, there it was. Phenomenal story. Phenomenal. And we got tens of dozens of stories like that we get again the week of basket delivery, text messages and emails and phone calls about how this experience really has made a difference for the family delivering.
And that's the thing. It's a family event. We're very family oriented when it comes to this event. We want you to be able to bring your children to share with them, you know, the whole process so that they understand when they're delivering to these homes that may or may not have less than what they have, that they see that they see and understand that firsthand, that what these families do or don't have. And most of the time it's what they don't have. And our 7-year-old, again, I can only reference our kid, but he sees that, when we've delivered for Christmas. He's like, "Mama, they didn't have a tree." I'm like, "No, no, they didn't." Their mommy and their daddy can afford to have a tree. That's why we're bringing them these gifts. So it's things like that I love, that your children get to be a part of this. We've had tons of teenagers, come and be impacted about the way that they are when they go back to school, and they see certain things going on with, that you can tell when a fellow student of yours does not have as much as you have. And when you then go to your parents to ask for money, not for you, but for your fellow students, like that's like, wow, that's awesome. And you got that idea because you came to our event. That's like, oh my God, let me just go cry in the corner. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I think, right after several years, it's I can't even imagine the compound effect of, right, one more giver out there in the world each year. And I'm sure that it's more than that, but whether it was a receiver who becomes a giver, or again, a kid, a teenager, somebody else whose heart who's transformed to give, um, that's just right. It's going to have a ripple effect in the world. So So I have, let's get to some nitty gritty business side of the questions. So you guys served 500 families last year, and the plan is 200 families for this year. Where do most of your donations come from?
So this year we had to switch things up a little bit. In the past, we've always accepted. What?
I'm looking at you.
In the past, we've always
I'll
accepted
look at you over
uh,
there.
volunteers and sponsorships from just everyone. So companies could together come and build the baskets and bring them to the day of the event and then deliver together. Obviously, because of COVID, we kind of had to switch all of that around. And this year, we're not able to accept, um, food from others. We can only accept donations. So, right, this is our first year where we're going, pretty much to sponsor based, which we're learning a lot about that. So obviously sponsorships are still available for anyone that's willing. Any company, we can, give you some love on social media and post about you. It will go on all of our social media, emails, our website, everything. And that's kind of what we're moving to. We of course accept donations from individuals, but we're everything that we do is because of donations, either through a sponsorship from a company or a donation from an individual. Last night I was already asleep and this one comes in here banging to wake me up. I thought something horrible was going on, but no, he was ecstatic because we had a $1,000 donation from an individual. Like that's awesome. Like companies give us that as a sponsorship, to have an individual with that big of a heart, like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Do you even understand how many more families we can now have? Obviously our goal is 200 families, but we have a list of standby families that have been requesting to be put on the list. We can't do that unless we get the funding. So always available, still available for sponsorships, personal donations, anything. Like I said, we are a 501c3, so you can write this off. Also, if you are, at a big company that does matching donations, we're listed on there, and that would be amazing. We've had several people that gave through there, and so that's an automatic double donation, which is amazing. So we greatly appreciate that and encourage it if available.
What percentage of donations go to food for the families?
98.
90, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
96 to 98.
Yeah, I mean, besides, general liability and like maybe a few things here and there that have to be bought under the company, we're the employees and we don't get paid. With our goal is to keep as much money that comes in through the charity and through donations back into it. Everything that comes in is given back to the families.
Yes.
That's awesome. And obviously I know I have a little bit more inner details, but I think that's always question people ask at, nonprofit levels these days is how much is, going here or there or to salaries. And I know that you guys are just incredibly humble and generous and do this from your heart. And that basically, if you wouldn't have to spend a penny on anything else, then, it's all going to the families. And, I know even at the beginning, the money would come out of your pockets in order to bridge the gap to pay for things. So
yeah.
It's almost like a negative return in some sense for you guys, but that you just do that because it's where your heart is, right? That's a role model, and not just to your family, but, to those of us who are in close contact and know, the level of generosity you all display. I don't think you all aren't people who ask for something that you're not willing to do yourself.
Always.
So sponsorships are available.
Yes.
Basketsforgood.org. And then what else do we need to know? Do we still need volunteers for 11/21?
We still need volunteers to deliver on because of COVID, we had to kind of divide things up. So we're starting on the 19th. We'll be picking up the food and then staging it. And then on Thursday, the 20th, we will be assembling the boxes. And then on the 21st, we will be delivering. And of course, we need volunteers for that.
Okay. So is it volunteers primarily for delivery or also for packing the boxes?
We
Assembly and packing.
yes, assembly for packing, everything, delivery for the 3 days. So, yes. And if you're able to only do certain shifts, that's great. We again had to divide it up so there's different shifts that you can pick and choose. If you're not able to volunteer the whole day, I understand. But if you're able to just come and help out for a few hours, we accept that. Of course, we do.
Awesome. And volunteer registration is also on the website?
Yep.
Yes.
Basketsforgood.org.
Awesome. You guys run a well-oiled machine. Any closing thoughts that you'd like to share in general?
I don't want to cry again. I'm normally very happy and proud of myself for not crying, and today I lost it. So Ricardo's normally the crier, and I'm not happy with myself. So I'm good.
I think it's a good reflection of your passion and your heart, for the organization. And so
Volunteers
thank
and
you.
donations, basketsforgood.org. And if there's anything we can do to help you, we're definitely open to partnering up with other organizations that have the same type of mission, and we can help each other out.
Awesome.
We're open. We're here. We're here and open for help, to give help, to get help. We're an open book.
Well, thank you. And thank you for being understanding of my cat with a cone on roaming through today's podcast. She just, if I lock her out, she'll scratching me out the door. So here we have, right, the work from home life in all of its glory.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. Appreciate your time and energy. Thank you for being a member of the chamber, and just thank you for all that you do for our community. You guys are truly, I feel like servant leaders gets overused, but I mean, you guys are incredibly generous servant leaders, that you do it from such a selfless place. So it's a beautiful heart that you guys have, each as individuals and as one of my favorite power couples.
And thank you for doing this. This is a great platform for organizations like us, individuals, to put a message out and to show that there's still stuff going on in the world. So we appreciate you and the chamber for putting this type of format together, to give us an opportunity to talk about what we do and give everyone in the community an opportunity to talk about what they do and share their passions and what they love. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, you guys have a great day.
You too.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Chamber Chat. You continue to find out more about the Chamber and our upcoming Chamber Chats on our website at farmersbranchchamber.org, and follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. Remember, early voting is happening now. Make sure you get out there and vote. Thanks, and have a great day.